Hi everybody, John Cena here and welcome to the grand final of FunkQuest Season 2. And if you have been with us since the 27th of March, which is when the first episode of this series aired, well done, because you'll have come up with domain name ideas, books that are free, all kinds of other random ideas that come from just talking with people that you don't know and you've never hung out with before, and that's all we do. It's a gamified, intelligent discussion for thinking smart people. So, before I go a quick run through of the rules, if you've not made it to the show before, I want the two funksters to tell me who you are, where you're from. Anne Smith.
My name's Anne Smith and I live in Barrie, Ontario, Canada. I'm a professional actress and an amateur metal detectorist.
Detectorist. I watched one of your things the other day. And,
Did you?
Yeah, and I saw on the news where a bloke had come up with a medieval coin somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's plenty of them in the UK, finding hammered silver coins and gold nobles and all sorts of wonderful things, even Roman artifacts.
Roman stuff, cool.
Yeah.
Kimya, tell us who you are, where you're from and what you do.
Hey, I'm Kimya Nuru Dennis. I am born and raised in the United States of America, Richmond, Virginia. I lived in North Carolina 17 years and now live in Baltimore, Maryland. And I am an activist, community advocate, sociologist, criminologist, former college professor, and the founder of 365 Diversity. So I do community-based work and work with businesses, schools, and organizations that actually want to change policies, procedures, and behaviors.
Excellent. So quick run through of the rules. If you are looking at my screen, you will see 5 rows down the side, 4 columns across the top. Funksters take it in turns to pick an icon which will have a question behind it. The question may or may not be related to the icon, and then Funksters have a minute to tell a story, tell a joke, or maybe even answer the question. But remember, they have no idea what is behind the icon. So It's harder than it looks. Who should ask to go first?
And
Thanks, girl.
Well, it's no advantage to go first, but I'm going to say, just for being a bit cheeky, I'm going to ask Kimya to go first.
okay, I will choose Nemo. Is that Nemo?
The clownfish. How quickly can you get dressed?
Oh my goodness. Actually, in 5 minutes, I really can. And so I've been practicing that for many years now, where with the work that I do, sometimes there's a community event that's happening and you didn't know until 15 minutes ago, so you want to hurry up and get there. Yeah. Or I'm a night owl, so sometimes being a night owl means that I wake up later than necessary for a meeting. And and that's even better now that things are virtual, of course. But yeah, I can get dressed in 5 to 10 minutes at the most.
And you've got some airplanes, some kind of soccer players, or some mechanism thing.
I'll take the mechanism steampunk pocket watch thing.
Where's the best place you got lost?
Oh, this is a story. Shaggy dog story. My husband took me on a magical mystery tour for our honeymoon, which was a motor tour through the outports of Newfoundland.
Oh.
And beside our inn, in one night, was this trail called the Skerwink Trail, Skerwink. And it goes along the cliffs and through the woods, and there's blueberry bushes on either side. And so we were picking berries and stuffing them into our mouths and just having a wonderful time. And you know what? There were no handrails. There were no guardrails. You could walk through the bushes and fall off the cliff if you were stupid enough to do that. Yeah. And I just loved it. But the best thing of all was that there was a sign hanging between 2 trees. There was a tiny little trail. The sign said, "Muddy."
It's like health and safety, you know. You might die, but it'll be a bit muddy.
Yes.
Kimya, alarm clock, screensaver, old car, or cityscape?
I will do the screensaver.
The colour screensaver thing. You'll have hundreds. How many pairs of sunglasses do you own?
I own 2, and I've had them for about 20 years. Theoretically, I love sunglasses, but I sweat. And so when I wear sunglasses and I'm hot, I just sweat that whole area anyway, and there's no point in wearing them. So I've just decided to keep them but just admire them without wearing them. So, and I also use this, to illustrate how sometimes we just have to look into realities and not blind our lens. Sometimes realities are harsh and we don't have shades to cover the realities. Ooh. So I'm good with not wearing sunglasses.
Well, just I once heard a phrase, men sweat, women perspire, ladies glow. So I would say you probably glow. Right?
I sweat.
Well, if you
it might glow.
Glow, yeah. Question 2, Anne.
Well, I am not really a morning person, so an alarm clock is pretty important for me.
Which best describes you, always early or always late?
Ooh, ouch, John. My mind tells me I prefer to be prompt.
Yeah. I
do tend to run behind. Ask my hubs and he will tell you that he's usually in the car going tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. And it's like, oh, I have to turn off the oven or whatever it is. But a little story here. When I was 14 and went to high school for the first time, I got there too early and nobody was in my homeroom yet. And so I'm standing outside the homeroom in an agony of anxiety. What, am I early? Am I late? Have I got the wrong room? What's my name? And I got myself into such a spin that I did not enjoy my first class at all. I was so freaked out by the fact that I got there before anybody. So I'm always trying to blend, just in time versus too early.
I think that's a real fear of a lot of people, certainly me.
Yeah. Yeah.
We want to fit in, so we don't want to be early, we don't want to be late, we want to be just kind of, and I think you're right, it comes from school, that fear.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be the last one on the bus, I don't want to be the last one at the dinner queue or whatever.
Yeah.
What are we on? Question 3, Kimya. Some bubbles, an helicopter, some kid cartoons, or an old car?
Let's do the helicopter.
Which do you prefer, tent, caravan, or hotel?
Oh, hotel. Well, not during COVID. I'm not traveling during COVID.
Well, yeah, I mean, in normal times, we're talking now.
But yeah, I prefer hotel, but I also love bed and breakfast. I'm not an Airbnb person. I refuse. But hotel or bed and breakfast, and prefer a hotel that actually has like a little kitchen in the hotel room. Those do exist. They're not always expensive. And I always bring, even long before COVID, I always brought hand sanitizer, Lysol spray, all of that. I tell people, never trust that people are cleaning before you. I appreciate the hotel staff, especially underpaid staff who are overworked, but I just have to realize that never trust that people are cleaning before you.
It's your responsibility. What's your beef with Airbnb?
I just don't trust staying in people's spaces where there's no clear establishment. So for me, hotels are an establishment. I can sue them. I can do whatever, talk to the manager. And also, if you use Lysol, make sure you spray down remote controls, the phone, everything. Don't just spray your pillow. I see people do that too. Everything.
And question 3.
Now I've got the creepies. Gosh, I'd love to try that old car question.
The old car question. How do you prefer to communicate with your spouse? And don't say shouting.
No, it wouldn't be. Actually, my husband and I got married late enough that we don't really fight. We truly just discuss. But for tough communication, I find it easier to talk in the car. And I think it's something to do with the fact that we're not looking at each other. If you're sitting across the table from each other, you're staring each other in the eyes and things can kind of escalate. But if you're in the car, you're traveling both in the same direction. And I find without the eye lock thing, you can actually communicate more freely.
Excellent. Good stuff. We're on question 4. Kimya, you got some rocks, waterfall, some kind of animals, or a podcasting setup?
I will do the waterfall.
Mm-hmm.
Waterfall. Where did you last lose your wallet or purse?
That probably was like over 20 years ago. I am a stickler for holding on to things that are mine. So the only time I lose stuff like that is if it's stolen. And so, yeah, so for me, it's been over 20 years ago. It's probably when I still lived home in Richmond, Virginia, and I was hanging out and got too comfortable and left my coat somewhere, and I had the wallet in the pocket. But otherwise, unless someone steals something from me, I'm a stickler. People usually ask me, why do you keep looking at your wallet and stuff like that? It's like, because I just always want to make sure when I get home, I'm coming back with what I left the house with if I'm supposed to.
It's back to that responsibility thing, isn't it?
It's responsibility. It's a little bit of paranoia because also as a criminologist, just knowing that a lot of times if people want to take something, they make sure you're not paying attention and won't miss it, that kind of thing. Yeah.
And question 4, these rocks, these leopard, cheetah things, tigers, or some podcasting?
The rocks are actually what we call an inukshuk, which is a creature that points the way in Inuit culture. So I will take those because people make plenty of those in Canada.
Good choice. We've got those near us in Derbyshire with they're like sandstone where the wind has just gnarled them.
Oh, hoodoos.
Is that what they're called?
Yeah.
How technical are you?
That's interesting. Yeah, this is another one of those double-edged questions. Given my druthers, not at all technical. I don't like technology. I love what it can do for us, but I find it immensely frustrating. I'd much prefer to work with analog rather than digital. I like mechanical. My dream car would be one that you can fix yourself. But I also am the person that always had to set my dad's digital watch. And I seem to have become the IT maven for my husband's company, which consists of him and me and our dog, who's the security guard. So, yeah. So I seem to be able to whisper technology, but I don't enjoy it.
I think we've all kind of in the realms of we figure stuff out.
Yeah, same here. Yeah.
Figure stuff out. Now, question 5. Kimya, you got the world, a telephone, a ship, or an orange flower?
Orange flower.
Where do you spend most of your day? Probably inside at the moment. But,
Well, I actually spend most of my day, I work part-time as grant writer for a nonprofit. It's 2/3 Black owned and 2/3 women owned. And so I actually spend most of my day, even during COVID, there in the office. We wear masks and we keep a distance. And so that's actually where I spend most of my day. And when I'm not at work, I spend my time at home doing work for my business. And so there aren't any meetings outside mostly during COVID. However, I do like to get out the house still. So I go for a walk every day at the lake or downtown at the Broadway market area in Baltimore. But Monday through Friday. I'm sorry?
What's at Broadway Market? Is that like
it's the marketplace area, Aliciana Street in Baltimore, where the outside foods are in the harbor area.
Nice.
So, yeah. But I spend Monday through Friday, I spend most of my day, 6 hours a day, at the nonprofit, which services at-risk populations.
Brilliant. Good stuff. And question 5.
I'm a bit of a Luddite, so I love the rotary phone.
The old phone. Brilliant. Yeah. Luddites, yeah, good. What's the best thing you bought for £1, $1, or €1?
Yeah, this sounds really plebeian, but the best thing I can buy for $1 is a package of those poop bags for the dog.
Yeah.
In Canada, I don't know about other countries, but in Canada, you are required to stoop and scoop the dog poop.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to say poop?
Yeah.
Dung. We must retrieve the dung.
Yeah.
And so it's such a slick thing, it's on a roll, you tear one off, you stick it over your hand, you grab the usual suspects, you wrap it up, tie it up, and drop it in the garbage can. Yeah. And you can walk on our sidewalks without any danger unless there's a stray, in which case there might be a little landmine. But you know what? Those things are wonderful. They keep our sidewalks clean.
Right. So who won? Now, one of these ladies is going to be crowned the Grand Champion Funkster. And if you are not sure which one it is, go back and listen to one or more of their episodes, go check out their website. But either way, you have to leave a comment on this. Stop waving your arms about me now, I'm concentrating. So you have to leave a comment on this episode on FunkyThinkers.com, and don't leave it on YouTube, don't leave it on Spreaker or iHeartRadio or iTunes or any of those things where you might be listening to us on. Go leave a comment on FunkyThinkers.com, as in who you vote for and maybe why. And we will crown one of these ladies the Grand Champion Funkster for Season 2. But in reality, you've both won, really. I mean, come on, you've shown up multiple times. We've had conversations about all kinds of random stuff. So you have, in my mind, both won. So
Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan.
For one last time, Anne, tell us how we can contact you and find out more about you.
You can find me at antie.ca. That's ANTIE.ca. It will lead you to everything. My YouTube channel, my Facebook page, that's where you find me.
Excellent. And Kimya, how can we find out more about you?
365diversity.com. So the work I do is local, national, and international. So I do inclusion, equity, and justice work. I specialize in dismantling stolen and abused demographic and cultural power and removing power disparities. You can also find me on Twitter at 365diversity LLC.
Excellent. Ladies, thank you so much for being on the show, and we will crown one of you at some point in the next week or so the Grand Champion Funkster for Season 2. Thank you so much, and we'll speak soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, thanks so much for making it to the end of this episode. Did you know that you can play FunkQuest yourself? We call it FQY. You can get going now with a 10% discount coupon that's displayed above my shoulder. Thanks so much, and take care.